Hey guys, it's episode 1
Woo-hoo.
of the Tedder and Weber Show.
Yeah, we're live.
I'm Tedder.
I'm Weber.
And we're
Tedder
and Weber. So this is our first full-length episode.
Can you believe it? We've been
I'm
talking about
pretty
this for about a
excited.
year.
Yeah.
So it's been a
What
while.
took us so long?
Being in front of the camera.
That doesn't bother me a bit.
bothers me a lot. If you can't tell.
So was it me talking you into it? Is that what the year has been?
Kind of.
Kind
Yeah,
of.
part of it. Mm-hmm, yeah.
And like my life just is insane all the time.
Everything's
and
nuts.
so-
Everything's a little crazy. So
So anyway, this is episode 1, and in our first full-length episode, what we are going to be discussing is
who are we?
who are we? But our overall arcing theme is going to be comparison. I think we kind of sneaked. I don't even think we told anybody the last episode, did we?
I don't remember.
I don't think
I think
so.
we teased it.
We
I
did
think
a teaser and we didn't
teased.
actually
How's
tell
that?
you. So our first, what did we say, 6, maybe 8,
Ish.
we'll see where God takes it,
Yeah.
are going to be all about comparison. And so in episode 1, we're going to take the next 15-20 minutes, so deal with it.
Ish.
And we are
It could be
going
an
to
hour.
go
We
in
don't know.
depth, really just about who we are, how we got connected on the topic of comparison,
Mm-hmm.
why it's important to us, and what we've learned in studying God's Word about comparison.
Yes.
So I want to start by saying that I am many things.
Sparkly is probably one of the top 3.
I think that that's probably what everyone would say about me.
I would agree.
Is that I get tagged in more
Glitter
things
posts.
that include glitter on Facebook than anything else ever.
Yeah.
Glitter and sometimes baby farm animals. Those are the things I get tagged in, but mostly glitter.
Yeah, I knew about the glitter.
So I have an imaginary farm.
Tell me more. This is the first I'm hearing about
This
this.
is true. You are.
Okay.
This is
I
brand
have
new.
no clue.
This is breaking the
This is
internet
us.
right now.
Yeah, this is us. So
No,
completely
so
unscripted.
I have, obviously unscripted. Literally, look, there's
and my
3
ADHD
notes.
could
There's,
kick in
there's
anything.
no
funny.
script.
Yeah, we're good.
No, I have an imaginary farm. More so before I had children, now I have an actual farm, and so I don't have the
I think
desire
right
as much.
term is zoo.
Yes, probably
Yeah.
more accurate. But I have this desire to have small baby farm animals like goats and furry cows and really an Arctic fox is really kind of
Because that
it's a farm animal in my brain. I know. It's fine. So
Well,
anyway,
good.
I am sparkling. I am loud, as you heard by the laugh. And I am very, very extroverted. And my girl here,
I would rather climb under a table and hide 24/7, just stay hidden. I have to play an extrovert role at work, and I do it very well. And I actually just shocked my team yesterday when I said that there was something that they probably did not realize about me, and it was that I'm an extreme introvert, 70%, 30%. So
yeah, absolutely.
So it's one of those things that people
Yeah.
don't know about me.
I know. You present very well as not an
Oh, thanks.
not an introvert.
Introvert.
I
What
was
am I?
saying it
I
wrong.
don't
And so my role, I think, in our duo is to bring out that extroverted piece
do.
of you.
Sometimes you have to pull a lot.
And I think your role is to tell me to be quiet.
Rein it in.
Sometimes. Land your plane. That's what she'll say to me. Lindsay, just focus. Land your plane. I'm loud. It's fine. But the
I love it.
reason, I want to kind of talk about the reason we came to the topic of comparison, first of all. I didn't believe that, I didn't believe that comparison was necessarily something that I struggled with too much. That was really cute of myself to think that, but I didn't think that I did. And so I don't know, I just was wrestling with this, the topic just kept coming up and just kept coming up. And I was in a Bible study, and one of my friends said, she likened comparison to modern day coveting.
Ouch.
Yeah. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, that sucks. Because when I look at the 10 Commandments and I think of coveting, I'm like, I'm cool. I don't covet. I don't want my neighbor's house or wife. I don't. It's fine. But I may want her body style, like her body type.
Yeah. Or the car. Well, you're not.
I'm not a car person.
I have my dream car.
No, I'm not
all
a
picked
car.
out.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Like throw me an old like mint green Ford pickup truck and I'm cool.
Negative.
That's my fantasy car.
Tesla.
No, I don't care about that. But nonetheless, I just didn't think that comparison was a place in which my heart had room to improve. Until someone said that comparison was likened to coveting. And when that happened, I got the biggest gut check from the Holy Spirit telling me that, yeah, you're not cool, Linz. You're not cool in that area.
Cool,
and so the topic just was repeated. Everywhere I went, the word comparison, I thought of comparison, I recognized it. And every single time I saw her face. And I was like, oh, I did like the holier than thou Christian thing that we do sometimes. And I was like, Steph must struggle.
I did. Still do. I mean,
Steph must struggle.
wrong.
So my job is to help her through this
And
struggle
she has.
that is hers.
It's not how she thought.
You're right. And so we really just dug deep into scripture after. Well, I guess we should tell how we got to talking about it.
Yeah.
So tell everyone what happened.
Okay, so she approached me during the pandemic of, hey, I'm supposed to write on comparison. I think I'm supposed to write about you. And I pulled that whole, Christian lady brush off. I'll pray about it.
She totally
prayed about it.
She straight lied.
I did.
Lied to me.
Sorry.
It's probably the only time that you've lied to me.
I
But
think
you
so.
straight lied.
But
You straight lied.
I had no intention of praying about any of it. And at the root of that was the fact that I was comparing myself to you, saying I could never write as well as you write. And
Which is bogus.
but that was my truth.
Yeah.
That was my reality.
So let's tell everyone how a few years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I decided to pursue the call of writing that God had given me. And in so doing, I searched everywhere for like a local writers circle that I could be a part of. And I couldn't find it. Like for any good reason. Every group I found on Facebook, no one had posted in like 6 years, and like I was like crickets everywhere. So I was like, let me just start like a writers circle. I know a few people who write, and they're Christians and they love Jesus, and they're women, and women who love Jesus is just like really who I feel drawn to. Like that's my jam. And so I just got these women together, and Steph was a part of it, and every single time you read a piece for critique, I mean, I was just like weeping.
And I did the same with you.
Like just openly weeping at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And then I was like, dang. And what I didn't realize when we started talking about comparison is that I really did compare my writing to yours.
Well, and I think we both learned how much we did that.
Yeah.
And we wrote a study during the pandemic.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. So because I did get convicted, and I did end up praying about it, and I was like, this is what we're supposed to do. Yeah. And through the course of it, we met on FaceTime and text.
Yeah.
And we both just kind of went our own ways. I get together a few things and we'll read them. And it was funny because the verses overlapped and the messages overlapped. Yeah. And then when we actually did a pilot of our study, the women in the online study that we did this with, one of their comments was, if I didn't know that there were two of you writing it, I would have thought it was one person because it's so cohesive. And I think had we not gone down that path, we would have continued to compare ourselves
100%.
to each other.
100%.
And we never would have seen
what
we could do
Not
together.
at all. And I think that the most impactful, I think, piece of writing this is that comparison's a really divisive topic.
Yeah,
the utter nature of comparison is division.
Yes.
By nature, that's what happens. When I compare myself to my adorable neighbor, who's literally, and I hope you watch this. I'm not going to say your name because I hope you know who you are. Because, like, hey, it's me, I live next door. But, like, she's stunning, but, like, also adorable and thin and fit. And, like, I dreamt up this image that, like, she's perfect. She's this perfect. And so what did that do to me? I stayed away. I
mission,
wanted
not
to
when
find the
interact.
people who I could find flaws in,
Mhm.
if I'm being really
Well,
transparent.
because it makes us feel better about
Correct.
ourselves. And that's
Correct.
what the enemy wants. He can't
Correct.
destroy what God's got for
Right.
us. He can distract us.
Yeah.
And I think comparison has been a huge distraction throughout my life. When I look at it, I was constantly comparing myself. Oh, they're better at this than me, or I'm better at this than them, or
Yeah.
and placing all kinds of
Well, and, like,
random arbitrary measurements.
I know. Well,
against
think about the
everything.
labels that you talk about to yourself. You know, like fat, old, ugly. Would I be fat if
If
my
somebody
neighbor wasn't
thin.
skinny?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it's that whole. Sorry, my brain's working faster.
You're
than
good,
my mouth.
girl.
But it's that whole. Okay, we see what we want to see,
Yeah.
and we don't see for real what's happening.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And we don't look at anything beyond what.
Right.
What's there in front of us.
Absolutely. We don't.
So
I think I want to just kind of talk a little bit about how I came to this position, like who I am in my core. I want to share with you bits of my life that you probably won't get on that social media facade. I'm a pretty raw, candid, real person. I don't have a lot of
we don't
secrets.
hold things back.
And
we may not
so
broadcast
if you
it.
need someone not to know something, just don't tell me.
Yeah.
Because no, I'm actually like, I'll be true to you, but
Yeah.
like I'm just not like, I'm so candid
Yeah.
and transparent that like secrets don't, like I
Right.
don't understand them. And so I guess what I want to say is like, my name's Lindsay.
I wish I
the first recording of this, I said, "Here's my girl Tedder."
Yeah.
So
So you guys are missing that out, but it might come
if
in
I
short,
got it might be
so.
a blooper here or there.
Yeah.
But if I like got my name right, like we're good. So that's step
This
one.
is Lindsay Tedder.
So anyway, Lindsay Tedder with the loudest laugh in creation. But I am an adoptive mom. The coolest part of my story. And as these episodes continue, you'll get more and more pieces of my story. And so it's just a really incredible testimony to who God is. Literally, I'll give you a 2-second synopsis. I was at my lowest, most hopeless point in an infertility journey after 10 years of trying and all of the things and all the drugs and the miscarriages and failed adoption and all of that. And I was low, very, very, very low. And that was a Thursday. And Sunday, 3 days later, I found out about my son. Mother's Day. A week after that, I met him. And 2 days later, he lived in our home.
And this is right after she said, "Why can't God just drop a baby on my doorstep? I would love him."
And it was a boy.
And it was a boy, and this happened.
And I wanted twin girls, like just for the record. But God knew that I needed a boy. So I'm an adoptive mom. I have a super amazing adoption story. And I just, like, my heart is for people in general. I love people. I am a survivor of sexual abuse. I was sexually abused when I was 8. And throughout writing this study, I mean, I've already gained so much healing from that aspect of my life. But like, even writing this story, in one of the facets of comparison, we identify 3 main pillars of comparison, or hinges, as we like to call them.
Yes.
And you'll learn more about that later.
More to come.
Sneak peek. One of the facets of comparison, the hinges of comparison, is like a humble comparison. And I was minimizing my abuse in comparison with everyone else. And the reality of writing this study and connecting on a deeper level is that I discovered that abuse is real and it happened, and I don't need to minimize it in order to accommodate someone else in any kind of way.
Right.
I can just own that this is part of my story and move forward into the healing part of it, instead of, hey, you have it off worse than I do, and so then minimizing who I am and what I've experienced.
Mm-hmm.
So that abuse led to a food addiction, and that food addiction led to a very high number on the scale, and something, an area I still struggle, if I'm being really candid. And so I think that comparison is such a natural emotion when you've had any kind of trauma. And so, and I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know anyone that doesn't have a little bit of trauma.
I think, part of this world is we do have trauma.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I can totally relate to how that trauma lends itself to comparison mindset or comparative narrative.
Yeah,
as we
our
call
comparative narrative.
And I think that as we've been able to get to know each other better and on a deeper level, I think that we have seen in each other things that we're like, oh, and we're comparing ourselves, to what we see on social media, and that's what we don't see are the 15 failed selfies and the and the screaming kids in the background or
Welcome
whatever.
to my house.
Yeah. Sorry, I promise it wasn't.
And a dog barking in the background.
Dogs barking in the background, but I think that we're not cognizant because we're constantly bombarded with these images of perfection.
Absolutely.
And it seeps into our soul, and it just contaminates the way that we feel about ourselves. And we were each created in
that
God's
word, contaminate.
Contaminate?
Because it's really true.
Yeah. I mean, God created us in His image. His image is perfect.
Yeah.
And while we're not perfect, we need Him and His perfection. We're not these walking disasters that are horrible and should never be able to come out of a hole in the wall somewhere.
Right.
But
I mean, we are sinful people who need all the Jesus, right?
Jesus.
But you're right. At some point, you have to be able to seek healing and to move past the trauma. I just spit a little tiny bit.
That's all right.
It's totally fine.
I brushed my hair off.
We cool, guys.
We're
this
good.
is what we're talking about.
We don't
sugarcoat things.
Mm-mm.
So, but this study really, meeting with you and learning and discussing who we are and how reticent our brains were filled with comparison.
Mm-hmm.
It was really shocking and eye-opening, but it really did allow us to move into a space of freedom in the sacrifice that Christ death afforded us, the grace that sacrifice afforded us. And so we are just really excited to bring you more content, to open up the study. Well, not all of it, because you got to buy it if it comes. If it's published, you got to buy it. When it's published. We want you to purchase it. So we will be unveiling little, tenets of comparison as we go, and getting you that encouragement and that motivation to move past the comparative narrative and into a space of freedom.
Yep. So, I don't know, do you want me to go ahead and introduce myself, or do you want me to take that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm a talker. I told you, I'll just go and go.
I was trying to avoid it, but so I'm Stephanie Weber, and I am a mom and a grandma and a rescue mom and all kinds of things.
Can you believe she's a grandma? I still can't believe that.
It's awesome.
You're way too young to be a
Oh,
grandma.
bless your heart. Yeah, I am a grandma, and it is the coolest thing ever. I never got it. My mom would come visit. We moved around a lot because we were a military family, and as an adult, I was in the military, and so was my kid's father, and so we would move around, and my mom would come visit, and I'm an only child, so I
don't think I knew
everything.
that.
Really? Oh yeah,
No,
that's a compliment though, because most people are like, "Are you an only child?"
That's true. I've known a few, but I'm like, no.
So my mom would walk in, and I would stand there like this, and she would walk right past me and go to my son or my daughter. And I'm like, I totally get it now. I absolutely get it. I did the same thing to my daughter and son-in-law at dinner. One of the first
isn't
times
it your son and daughter-in-law?
My son and daughter-in-law. What'd I say?
You said daughter and son-in-law.
Well, he always accuses me of liking her better.
Sorry, bro.
Sorry, dude. It's not like, it's not a...
I was like, wait a second. I thought you had
Yeah. But yeah, my life has been fraught with all kinds of good and bad things, and even the things that I thought were bad that were good. Yeah. Ultimately, I've gone through a divorce that was not easy. I have raised my kids and they're amazing people.
They're literally amazing humans.
They are. They're absolutely wonderful. They're the highlight of my life. And then I have
one
survived.
maybe like off camera, just a little bit, so we might be like playing it up a small amount.
Yep, and she may be given like a half a heart, but
we love you.
But I have gone through my own challenges throughout the years, and I went through high school, which was not a positive experience, and people around me, whether they were friends, family, or enemies, really, always had some opinion of how I was less than or didn't measure up, and so I carried that into adulthood. When my marriage broke up, that was very difficult. I have worked through a lot of that, but when you have a background of abuse, it rears its head in ugly ways at the most inopportune times. And I would be watching people. I would go to eat or something, and I would watch people interact with their kids and their spouses, and I'm like, wow. And I had put that on myself, that I was less than because I didn't have that, and I thought it was some
because
sort
you
of
saw
defect.
a glimpse of a moment in
Correct.
someone's true story.
Yes, I didn't see the other stuff going on behind the scenes. And through the years, I've really come to, I've done a lot of reflection and a lot of talking to God on it, but I've come to see that even though I am a divorced single mom of 2, I don't.
You're also a divorced single mom.
Right.
Too.
That doesn't define who I am.
Correct.
I am a child of God first and foremost.
Absolutely. I think we forget that. I think we get lost in the busyness of our life, and we don't realize where our priorities really lie. And that's where that comparison game just really grips you.
Yep. So that's me in a nutshell.
We'll learn more as we
We'll
go.
learn more. Also want to mention that we both have our own social media accounts. We have a combined social media account on Facebook and on Instagram. Yeah. And we have all the stuff. Websites, and so we'll link all of that stuff down in the description.
So when she says we, she means she. We'll link it because she's the one that's technical.
Yeah.
So, she does work in IT.
Yes.
And I don't.
Yes.
So.
I used to have the world's coolest job description. I was a Scrum Master.
I still don't know what that is.
I don't either.
Okay. Maybe that's a good thing you don't have it anymore.
It's kind of like, what a project manager does for a project. I do that for a team.
Okay.
So,
But I was probably a Scrum Master at some point.
Keeping the work flowing through, keeping everybody busy, keeping developers on task. Let me tell you, as a former developer, that is not easy. But seriously, I love my job. They just changed the title, but I will forever embrace the title of Scrum Master. When you walk into the doctor's office and you fill out all the paperwork, and let me be clear, I'm a klutz, so I am always in a doctor's office.
Is.
And I'm a big
I'm like,
believer.
You hurt your other knee already? And now your shoulders
it's go
again?
big or go home with me. Like, you don't do halfway. Like, commit and go.
Break all the bones or
break
none
all
of them.
the bones or none of them. But they always ask me, what is a Scrum Master?
That's funny.
And I always grin. So anyway.
Mine says unemployed.
That's okay.
Because I have like 1,800 jobs.
You're not unemployed.
I am not unemployed. I am all the things to all the humans in my home.
Yes, you're wonderful.
All right, guys.
All right,
well, really, this is episode 1.
Yeah.
We talked a little longer than I think we planned on, but roll with it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is episode 1. We will bring you episode 2 next week.
Yeah.
Episode 2. I'm so excited.
I know, it's gonna be fun.
It's gonna be really good because we are unpacking the premise of the comparison,
which is really cool because we had all this. Am I allowed to say this?
Well, I don't know what you're about to say.
You can't read my mind. So we had this done, this episode, and the next one.
We had already recorded these.
And my computer decided to go to sleep, and the audio was fine, but in the video, it
looked a little dubbed, like our mouths were not lining up with the sound.
That's kind of how it looked. Yeah. But talking normal.
Yeah, normal.
So we couldn't subject y'all to that.
Nah, so not on episode 1.
No. Maybe episode
30, 40 when you're been okay, you're fans, you're here to win it. Not episode 1 first impression.
But this is is us.
This is us. This is who we are. So we hope you enjoyed it, and we will catch
Yep.
you next week for episode 2.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.